Well, farming is actually one of the most hideous jobs. A lot of people hate farming because it's a dirty job. No, not that dirty. But in a way that people do not enjoy it. It's hardworking. It's involve a lot of energy. It's involve a lot of time. And plus, people do not get rich because of farming. And that's why a lot of people overlook this farming activities in daily life. So as you're listening to this presentation, I challenge you to observe how these farmers live and what activity they engage that actually can have impacts on our personal life. Now, from time to time, we learn that experience are so valuable. There's so much insights and experience. We actually learn from our own experience, and we learn from other people's experience. Both are powerful and life-changing if we actually observe. There are small, minute things that people do every day that contain wisdom that we don't really quite focus on. We just like to go past because we have the big thing ahead of us, maybe. Like these farmers, it's a rice farmer, they actually have very hard life, of course. Some of them work day and night. They work under the sun, under the rain. They are traditional farmers, of course. But one of the unique things about this rice farmer is that he's very early. A lot of rice farmers in Cambodia traditionally wake up very early, like 4 o'clock. By the time you normally wake up at 7, they already finish a lot of tasks already. They are productive in their own way. And they live a life of disciplines in a sense, that, they actually follow times. They actually, in the morning, they will just try to find where's the sun, right? And they actually try to finish, their tasks before the sunset because more chores are coming right after. They have more responsibility, of course, and they are willing to take up more responsibility as farmers. They are busy as bee, in a sense. What I do appreciate more about farmers as I live among them, like many years of living among them. I'm a son of a farmer, turning a new leaf. Many of these people enjoyed living in a community. They actually share life, share resources. Well, not money now. But a lot of time they actually devote themselves to protect and love and sustain one another, right? To actually make sure that their fellow neighborhoods would have food to eat. Tradition farmer. They would do that, a lot of them. Now, as I mingle around all this farmer, I feel like farmers do not have this some kind of big ambitions in life, to become astronauts, to become billionaires. That's not what they want. A lot of them just seek sufficiency, enough. A lot of them. And they mainly appreciate this simple lifestyle. They actually respect nature a lot. They live with the flow of life. They do not make demands, not very much, and that's why they continue to toil from day to day. A lot of us may feel like that's not smart. This is the generation of millionaire no longer noticed this day. Billionaires are noticed. But farmers have something that we actually don't have. A lot of city people feel like, oh, my life is not being compared to farmers. They actually enjoy their life better. They enjoy this peace and tranquility that I don't have. And we are so jealous of them, maybe. So they have this strength too, in some ways. One of the most dangerous job on the planet Earth that I observe in my lifetime is sugar palm tree climber. Sugar palm trees are actually people who commit their life to work. They actually climb these palm trees that are actually tall, that range from 3 meters to 30 meters. And this palm tree with a diameter of 30 centimeters to 80 centimeters. Many of them climb consistently, do it as their daily habits. A lot of us feel like, oh, come on, that is something that's killing. If we do that, we'll die sooner. than later. But these farmers, my father was climbing sugar palm tree for his daily living. And he used to tell me that, well, it's actually a fearful job. There's so much fear, for the first time you climb it, right? The higher you climb and you look down, there's so much fear, so much phobia. This is killing. But you are facing it anyway. You do it anyway. You are not running from fear. And that's why you need to face them. And for my father, he said that there's some joys in climbing these sugar palm trees. This climbing slowly up to this bamboo, ladder up to the top. And sometimes facing some kind of barriers, there's some kind of storms and fears, for example. They even climbs, this sugar palm trees, in the rain, to get the juice, of course. But he mentioned this important thing, that fear itself is not something that we can run away. You got to just confront it. You just have to do it, right? I mean, if there's nothing else you can do, you got to just go for fear. And as a result, they make their survival. They live. They actually grab, what is available in their life and take it to the next level. And they find joys when they're doing that. Fishermen. The cast net fishermen is actually people who are not very rich too. But their tasks are outstanding somehow. Because this cast net throwing fishing method is something that requires art and requires skill. And at the same time, it requires persistency. As this man, go in order to fish with his net, he takes some critical steps, as I observe. I used to live among them, and I like this as my recreation. I do it. They actually, before they start throwing their nets, there is some critical step they take. They have to understand what position they take. Do they have to stand from the shore? Do they have to stand on the boat? Or do they have to stand on the spad that actually support them on the water? And these people actually are very diligent in a way that their behaviors as they are fishing, they spend a lot of time to be quiet, because fish are not very friendly in a sense. They are very intuitive. So they do not disturb the water. They would just go quietly. And this fisherman would find his happiness the moment that he starts throwing his nets to the air. And once the waves sink into the waters, there's some sense of joy in there. And once this actually hit the bottom of a lake, then he would feel that some fish are actually biting the nets. He could actually learn. He could feel it. And that is the joy of life. What I want to speak today is that wisdoms are not something that not only exists in the textbook or novels. There are a lot of chapters of wisdoms that exist in the wild. Socrates once said that an unexamined life is not worth living in. Believing that a person would learn great lessons that actually could apply in our daily life by observation. Now, there's so much insight, there's so much knowledge that we actually can grab, from our daily encounters that we actually miss. We travel, and we do not observe, and we pass, we don't see. We can't blame it, because it's part of a human tendency, to look at something and not seeing it, to just listen to something and to not hear it. Because our brain is very selective. We only choose, to see what we want to see. And that is important, that we actually, learn to pay attention. That's important that we learn to raise personal awareness so that we can see more. We can know more. As this This sugar palm tree climbers climb higher and higher and higher. He could see more details. As this fisherman, throw his net and it spread, he catch more fish, more details, more information that somehow inform our decision making, that somehow help us to solve problems better. Now, reason that we don't really solve our daily problems effectively, that's because of we are living in the world of abstraction and subjectivity. In a sense that, everything is so weak, everything is so complicated. And if you actually learn to observe, we learn to visualize problem solving. And we don't just learn about skills, about strategies, we learned about attitudes. As you observe things, you observe places, people, and activity, you got on and beyond what you see. So what you need to do in life to live better is to pay attention. This is a generation of scrolling down fast. This is a generation of staring and not seeing anything. A generation of sensations and not meaning. I believe that whatever you see, the activity, the movement, the elements that you encounter, these things have life, this thing has meaning. These things have patterns that we can observe and somehow grab them as wisdom and lessons that apply to our daily life. Thank you so much.